Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Mukesh Singh, and today we will be talking about one of the fastest growing and second largest cloud computing platform in the marketplace. I'm talking about Microsoft Azure. Now, now before we begin, let us talk about what we will be covering in this video. Why you should be interested in cloud computing. What is cloud computing? What is Microsoft Azure? Some of its services and the uses of Microsoft Azure. Let's start why you should be interested in cloud computing. Let's take an example. You have a revolutionary idea to start an amazing application. It can be a great profit. For it to be successful, you will have to release it on the internet. People need to use it, they need to be spread the word and it become famous. However, for that you are going to need internet and servers. You required storage, you required developers, you required dedicated networks, and you required applications that works the way it does, but there are the lots of components required. That's where the problem lies. There are two major disadvantages to this approach. The initial setup is very expensive and risky, which means this requires a lot of capital to upfront to ensure it works properly, and downside is if your application does not become famous and it does not return as much you expect it to, you probably not going to get money back. This is a huge amount of risk. And the flip side, it become famous and the number of user increases, then you have to buy more servers to keep up with your demands. And this problem can be solved with the help of cloud computing. Now that you know why we should interested in cloud computing, let us go to the detail of what exactly is cloud computing. Cloud computing is basically a platform that gives you access to number of computing resources, and this is possible with the help of internet. As a user, all you need to do is go to a cloud service provider through your laptop or computer, through the internet of course, connect to the provider, and you have to access the computer resource. Cloud computing is a platform that provides access to computing resources over the internet, and you can choose whatever required. For that you have to pay what you are using. There is a pay as you go service. So you can select, there is no specific amount of fees to sign into the cloud. As per your requirement, as per the services you are using, you have to pay for that. Cloud computing is used for the following types of services: machine learning and data analysis, data storage and backup, streaming media content, creating and testing applications, automating software delivery, hosting blogs and application. So today if you find, there is no domain which is not available over the cloud, and if there is, after the time it is going to be available in the future. So what is Azure? Azure is a cloud computing platform and an application online portal to access and manage resources and services provided by the Microsoft. It firstly launched in February 1, 2010. It is free to start and also provide pay per use model. 80% of Fortune 500 companies use Azure services. Your Azure can support multiple programming languages such as C, Node, Java, JavaScript, etc. Data center in 42 regions and around the world. Azure services are divided into 18 categories and contain more than 200 services. So there are multiple like compute, networking, storage, Internet of Things, migrations, mobile, analytics, containers, artificial intelligence and machine learning, integration, management tool, developer tool, security, database, developers, media, identity, and web. So the one we are going to discuss here, the first one, that is Azure services, is compute. So in compute, we are going to access such things like virtual machines. Your cloud is basically divided into three platforms again, like the one is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, we are going to set up an infrastructure in the cloud itself, and that comes under the compute. So let us log into the portal.azure.com. I already have a subscription. First of all, you have to create an account on outlook.live.in. I already have an account, so I'm just going to sign in. Now if you click here, you are gonna find out there are plenty of resources over here, and that's the dashboard. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on this option over here, and you have to find here the compute. If you don't find any, you can write here like compute. Let's try again. Okay, all services, and here you are gonna find the compute option. There are many services which it offers, that is networking, storage, web, and so on, but we are focused on the compute right now. And in compute there is a virtual machine, and another one is a virtual machine classic, and next is a virtual machine skill set, which I am not going to discuss now. So let's start with virtual machine. Classic is nothing but it's a old version, so go with virtual machine. I already have a 2 virtual machine running right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new virtual machine. And resource group, you have to create a new, but I'm using already, so I'm going to select the previous one. But if you have to create a resource group, you have to do nothing in, you have to just click on create new, and you have to type any name. Virtual machine name is trial Veeam. Okay, and I'm going to use reason. These are the data centers available across the world, so I'm going to select the default one. And availability option, you want availability zone or set, which we will discuss later. Okay, next is the image. You can select any image for operating system available here, like data centers and all. So I'm going to select the Windows 10 only, and leave this for a moment. Go for a change. Now it is going to tell you the plenty of available options for you, and there are the cost per month, that is a 3000, and it goes for expensive and more expensive, like here. So what exactly happened is the RAM. Look at the RAM is 112 GB RAM, 8 CPU, and data disk 32. So we don't need it. It depends on what kind of environment you are going to use your virtual machine. So I'm just going with the cheapest one. I'm selecting the cheapest one, which is 3136. Go next. Then here you have to use administrator account name. Account name is Mukesh. Password, and inbound rules. So if you select none, then you may not be able to connect to your machine. So I'm just selecting a port, and I'm selecting remote desktop. Okay, And if you're using Linux and other, you can use SSH or HTTP connections for your web servers. If you're selecting all, it may be insecure, so I'm just selecting RDP. But make sure if it is a website server, then select these. If you already have a license for Windows 10, you can say yes and you can save the cost, but I don't have, so I'm going to the next. Now there are disk types, which is standard hard drive and SSD premium. The cost is also involved in the all three categories. I'm going with SSD, and there's an advanced option over here. I'm not just going for these option right now. Now there is a virtual network which is required, so this is the name of virtual network voucher RG. You can create a new one, and there's a subnet mask. You are going to get this subnet mask inside, and there's a public IP also. You are going to get one public IP to access it, and there are some security features which I cannot explain right now, as this is just an introduction for the basic. So just leaving those things default, go with the next management, leave those things default. Auto shutdown is a features which can save the cost. If you switch this on, you can set a time that this machine automatically shut down at 7 o'clock in the evening. So what happen is it will charge you for those hours you have switch on your virtual machine. So I'm not just using it, leave it default, leave default, no tags, leave default, review and create. So it is going to give me the cost, that is costing me for that much for an hour. Okay, so if I delete this virtual machine after an hour, it is just going to cost me 4 rupees. Just go create. It will take some time to create or deploy this virtual machine, and as you can go and into the notification, you can see the development is in progress. Once it complete, I'm going to show you how you can connect to your virtual machine. So meanwhile, to save the video length, I am just going to pause the video. Once the deployment will done successfully, I will resume it back. So guys, as we can see in the development, it succeed. I can simply click on pin to dashboard, and the another option, go to the resource. Here you can see my virtual machine is ready, and within 1 hour, it has been running the disk, the data network, CPU. Okay, so I'll go to the connect, and this is a Windows machine, so I'm going to connect with remote desktop. This is the public IP this machine got, and I'm going to download the file. Similarly, click on connect. Now you need to type the username, and go OK and say yes. So now this machine is running right now, and that is running in the East US. Okay, and this machine is running over the cloud right now. So that is how I'm using it. There are multiple features where we can manipulate those options. Okay, this is a bit slow because I'm using the cheapest version. I'm using those virtual machine with less computing power because of the cost involved, but uh, you can pay more and you can access the fastest server or virtual machine. I have simply used Windows 10 machine over here. It is going to take some time. Meanwhile, I'll go with some more explanation. with the availability set. Okay, so for example, this is this server and it's only server 1 running. So what happen is, for example, I'm just explaining you guys, that is called availability set. So there is a Flipkart big billion sale goes on over the internet, that is once or twice in a year or maybe once in a month. So what happen is the number of users who are accessing the website increases, so 10 times. So what we can do is, on the cloud there is a benefit. If this virtual machine utilize 70% or 80%, we can set up policy. We are going to create more and more server inside the cloud. So we set up a policy, if this exceed more than 70%, automatically switch on the second server. If this increase is 70, again switch on the third server, fourth server, fifth server. It depends, we can set up 10 or 20 different servers. But when the sales get over, okay, when the big billion day sale is over, we do not need those 10 servers. So what happen is, automatically we can remove them and we can ready with 1 or 2, whatever our requirement. So we are paying for all those server for 1 day only, pay as you go. We are not paying everyday payment for all those servers. So that is a very good example with the availability set, and that cloud offers to us. This is our virtual machine here. We can accept those services and it is almost ready right now. So you can see this is a Windows 10 machine in front of us. So thank you for being with me for this session. Thank you very much. This is